dream. I'm just kidding. Thank you guys for coming today. This is Amy Parker, and I'm Vivi Barnes, if you do not know who I am, or if you know and you just need a reminder, because that's how we roll. So, Olivia Decoded just came out this week, so it's very exciting. It is the sequel to Olivia Twisted. It's a sequel to Oliver Twist, written by Charles Dickens. He's not aware that I wrote it, but I did. Oliver gets a wife, so and is rich. So I actually wrote this book in response to letters that I received from people saying what's happened between the end of the book and the epilogue of Olivia Twisted. Who's read Olivia Twisted in here? Okay, it's going to be spoiler alerts for those who haven't, and that's okay. But people were asking me what happened between the end of the book. Y'all can come sit down if you want. And the epilogue. So I wrote Olivia Decoded because it was always in my head. I mean, it's like over a year passes by between Olivia Twisted and this, you know, the time that the epilogue happens in Olivia Twisted. So I'm like, okay, a lot actually did happen, and where did Z go, and did they ever get together again? So this book covers a lot of that, and it's definitely a thriller because somebody is after Liv and somebody is after Z's money, and they find out it's actually connected. So if you think writing a thriller is easy, it's not. So I have to introduce somebody who actually helped me through a lot of this process, and that is my sweet dear friend Marlena Antefit, who actually is one of my critique partners and who made me like all sorts of food, pizza and everything, and then, you know, I had to go on my diet. But she actually walked me through a lot of this story, and so I dedicated the book to her. So, I know. Okay, so, and this is Amy Parker. What's your name?
Hi. Okay, you're passing it off. I was over here like butterflies, moonbeams. Like, now I gotta think about what I'm supposed to say. Not prepared. I'm Amy Christine Parker, and my latest book is called Smash and Grab. And I would say that Smash and Grab is a much lighter thriller. It's more of a heist caper kind of book. My publisher likes to call it Ocean's 11 meets West Side Story, which is sort of accurate. It's really about teens robbing a bank. I promise they have good reason. They aren't just robbing it to rob it. Basically, we have two kids who are coming from different backgrounds, and those two kids both want to rob the same bank. The girl, because her father has been arrested for crime, and she's trying to prove that he wasn't the only one in on it, that he's being framed. And a boy who's from the wrong side of the tracks, who's part of a gang, and the only way to get out is to do one last job for them. And so these two are going to rob the same bank, and they're planning to frame each other for the crime. The only problem is they fall in love. And so what do you do? And so that's really what the book is about. And I'm one of the YA chicks with Vivi. We hang out a lot together. We write, we commiserate, we pull our hair out at about the same time. We text each other daily while we write. And I'm from Tampa area, for those who don't know who I am. And I'm just happy to be here and help celebrate with Vivi, because we both were sitting around thinking about our launch, and we're like, you know what, we both have books about thieves. Why would we not do this together? It took us a long time to get to that point, though, where we realized.
Yeah.
So.
And Christina Farley is the other YA chick who could not be here with us. Be with us here today, so we decided we would talk smack about her and do lots of terrible things behind her back.
Exactly.
So what we thought we would do is ask each other a couple of questions that the other person does not know we're asking, and then open it up to any questions if you guys have. And we're also going to do a reading of our story. So should we do the reading first? Or?
That would probably be a good idea.
Okay, cool.
As you can tell, like in the YA Chicks, there's three of us, and we all have like a different dynamic. Christy is sort of our implementer. She's super organized and like really, really go-getty. So she always gets stuff done.
Which is why we're a hot mess today.
Yeah, and Vivi is like the other end of that spectrum. She's like, I'm going to show up, but it'll be cool. And then I'm somewhere in the middle, like I try to be organized, and then things fall apart. I told her yesterday, I was running around getting stuff for the launch, and I ran to get gas because I was on the way to get kids, and you know how it is. You have like your mom duties plus your author duties plus whatever. And I got out at the gas station and forgot to put the car in park. So I'm like getting out of the car, and the car is rolling, and I'm like, yep, this is me. I try to be organized. It does not ever work.
Yeah.
Never told me that.
I know. That's my husband. It was fine.
Yeah, our families are actually extremely instrumental in us writing anything, because without them, we would just not be able to do a thing. So my husband David I don't know where you are, but I love you, man. My son. Oh, there you are. My daughter Elaine, who's 6, and I hope she's with my husband right now, otherwise he's in trouble.
She's with my daughter, and they're probably doing
Oh, that's fine then, your daughter's cool. And then my son Jack, and my son Andrew, who's pretending not to know me at the moment, so. So my family's awesome. But we thought we would do a quick reading, and then a little Q&A, So this is from chapter 1, and it's probably spoiler alerts, but you know, it's kind of hard to not do that in a book too. So ignore it if you hear anything like that could be in book 1. And it's hard to be serious when you're me, so okay. The white rose, just a few inches from my nose, is the first thing I see when I awaken on Valentine's Day. My first Valentine's Day in this huge mansion, and the 17th without a boyfriend. Which leaves my grandfather as the rose culprit. Surprising, considering he rarely steps foot in my room. It's fine with me. I have exactly 0 interest in a boyfriend, considering the last and only love in my life was a hacker who refused to leave that life for me. My therapist told me I should try to make more friends, maybe even go out with one of the guys at school who'd shown interest. Why would I talk to some immature guy? The only person I'd ever told my secrets to was a secret himself. Nobody can know about the boy who was Z to everyone else but Jack to me. The boy who saved me, then broke my heart. Twirling the rose in my fingers, I walk out on my balcony. The sun has barely crept over the horizon, slivers of pastel hues breaking the sky. It used to be my favorite time of day when the world around me is silent and I can actually think. But even after 8 months, the painful memories of Jack are what fill my mind these days. His face is burned in my brain, kaleidoscope eyes that look straight into my soul, blonde hair hanging long over his forehead, even the warm smell of his jacket, an intoxicating mix of leather and spice that hinted at danger. I haven't heard from him since that night on this very balcony, the night when he gave me his heart, then left me to go back to his family, the home of foster kids turned cyber criminals. The rumble of his Ducati as he pulled away became the background music of my nightmares. Isn't that a great last line? Thank you. I'll be here all night, folks.
Okay, I'm going to read a boy's point of view, so this works out well. Like, you have the girl. Did you write dual POVs?
I did. I wrote dual POVs.
So did I. So these are both the same that way, too. I have a boy and a girl, and they're in alternating chapters. So this is from my boy. His name is Christian, and he's about to steal a car. The van is cool. Well, not cool exactly, but the perfect getaway car for a heist. It's nondescript, dust-covered gray, with a lineup of cartoon character people stuck to the tinted back window. A mom, a dad, 2 kids, a dog. Man, I hate those stupid decals. Like, anyone really needs them to figure out whose ride this is. But awesome as they are, the real kicker is the Mary Kay consultant sign stuck to the driver's side door. Eddie is gonna love that. This one, I say, smiling at the prospect of showing it to him. Getaway drivers, hell, all guys like something sexier than this, but since he's not here, I'm getting that slight tingle in my fingers. It's my gut's way of telling me the job's going to go right. I unzip my backpack, pull the tow kit and my gloves out from under a stack of college books where I hid them. I tell the other guys the books are just props to make me look more like a student, out studying late for an exam instead of a thief trying to steal a car, in case one of LA's finest happens to pull me over. But that's only partly true. I've actually read most of them. Plus, I like having them with me. They're my good luck charms. My cousin Benito, he goes by Benny, yawns and takes point at the back of the vehicle, eyes glued to the entrance to the apartment building's parking lot. I'd lay odds he's not watching the street, though. He's been staring at the sky on and off for the past hour daydreaming. The LA skyline is pretty sweet, but not something he hasn't seen a million times before. We don't talk about it, but I know he dislikes this part of the job as much as I do. You'd think stealing cars wouldn't be nearly as big a deal as the bank jobs, but in some ways, it's worse. More personal. This van belongs to someone. A woman with kids. I gotta get a Red Bull or something, dude. I'm dying. Hurry up already. Benny stretches and groans loudly, his arms coming up over his head, his back arching. He's nearly 4 inches shorter than me, twice as thick and nothing but muscle. He reminds me of a boxer or something, all coiled up energy. You think the boys are still at the party? Benny sounds wistful. We left the rest of our crew at Jeanette's house. We never take the whole team to lift a car. We'd attract too much attention. Last we saw of them, they were gathered in Jeanette's backyard scoping out the girls. Maybe we could go back after we drop this bad boy off? He asks hopefully. Nah, man, it'll be over by now. I stick the wedge into the car door and pry it back enough to shove the air bladder into the gap. I start squeezing the hand pump, the bladder inflating in time with the pulse in my neck. 2 seconds more and I've got the long metal rod in place, hovering over the unlock button. The car clicks, the lock disengages. The sound sends a tremor down my spine. I pull open the door. The cinnamon apple scent of the car deodorizer makes my lungs squeeze shut in an instant. It's so bad that I consider breaking into a different car. But that'll just waste time, so I yank the air freshener out and throw it to the ground.
And now I'm going to read to you from the back, and you can find out who done it. It was the butler.
I'm like, what are you doing? You didn't tell me you were reading twice.
That's about me just showing up. Everything's cool. All right, so I have a question for you, Amy. Obviously, we're both kind of messed up in the head because we both write about thieves and criminals, and I mean, I admit I love doing that. But Amy also wrote a book called Gated, which is about an Estray, which is the sequel, which is a girl who grows up preparing for doomsday and sort of in a cult, actually. And now she has a book about heists and everything. So I'm kind of curious, with your messed up head, like, where have you found inspiration in your life that contributes to these stories?
Well, that time I lived in Jonestown. Just kidding. No. Actually, I think it's because, I don't know, I think with Gated it's because I grew up, this is going to date me, but I grew up in a time when Charles Manson and Jim Jones and all of these cult leaders were in the news a lot. And I was kind of scared as a kid because you would watch the news and you would kind of freak out because you'd hear about all these people that would do these major extreme things in the name of their belief system. And as a kid, when I saw the Jonestown footage, I was sort of like, how did that guy get all those people to do something that extreme? You know, they killed themselves for this man, and I couldn't figure out why or how that happened. And as a kid, I thought, could that happen to me? Could somebody really con me enough that I would do something like that? And I thought, no, there's no way. I'm way too strong-willed. But then how does somebody do that? And so I think for Gated, that was a big part for me, was figuring that out. And for Smash and Grab, it was more or less that I had read a news article. And all my ideas come from the news or documentaries, actually. So they always have real life inspiration. And it was about a man who convinced his 2 teenage kids to rob banks with him. And I thought, like, that is bizarre that a parent would say, okay, we're gonna go rob these banks, and the daughter's gonna be the getaway driver, and the son's gonna come in and help me rob the bank. And they did this multiple times before they got caught. So that was sort of the impetus for that idea, and then it morphed from there. But I just thought, what would that be like to have a dad for a criminal? And that you would have like this expectation to also commit a crime. So that's it.
Messed up.
Not so messed. It's funny because my kids will be like, what are you researching today? And my daughter's always like, why do you smile? It's unnerving. So I'll be like, I have this scene where this goat dies. He like jumps off. It's so amazing. And she's like, you are so weird. I'm like, I know. Go make your bed.
Yes, I write a lot of romance scenes because I love romance. I'm like, David, come here, give me a kiss. Until one time I had to write a scene that was the opposite of the romance scene. And he came home, hi, honey. I'm like, go away. I hate men and can't stand you. So, and then I was fine the next day. But, you know, you get yourself into these stories. You get in your scene, and it feels like real life sometimes. It's kind of crazy. But it's exciting. And I'm sure we're both on FBI want list, as probably most authors who write stories like this, for some of the things that we looked at. How do you break into a bank account? How do you start a war?
Well, and I know that I am for a fact because I looked up how to make homemade bombs, and my husband does pest control work, and so he buys thousands of pounds of fertilizer at any given time, which is him right there. So I'm looking up how do you make a homemade bomb, and he's out ordering 1,000 pounds of fertilizer. So any minute I'm expecting them to come to our house like, what are you doing?
Thank you.
Okay, so it's my turn to ask you one? Okay. So it's along the same lines, and that is, Vivi and I laugh all the time because I always tell her, like, she's really good at romance, and I envy that because I hate writing romance scenes. For me, it's like the worst part of the whole book to do. I would rather kill someone in a book than have a kissing scene, which is really crazy, but it's because it's hard for me to write them well. And I feel like I just write the same kind of motions, like he touched your cheek. It's like, I don't know, or that I have Barbies and I'm playing. But I thought, like, you write such great romance scenes. So what is the most romantic thing that's ever happened to you in your real life that's PG rated, since we have kids here?
Oh, okay. Hey! There's my husband back there, David. Say hi. Yes,
we're going to make him blush.
Actually, he does a lot for me. He's amazing. When he does the dishes, my heart just goes pitter-patter. So.
Oh, come on, Vivi. We need more details than dishes.
Okay, that's my modern day dream. Actually, he's very romantic. So I think the most romantic thing is when he proposed to me. I was kind of mad at him that day, which happens, you know, that's my, I'm up and down, trust me. So I was like, oh, you know, and I just got back from vacation. You were supposed to plan a date. And he's like, oh, I guess we can go to this restaurant that we like. I'm like, oh, fine. So what I didn't know is he packed our bags and he put them in the trunk of the car. And he drove me, what I thought was a restaurant turned out to be a place. I'm like, are we taking a shuttle to the restaurant? Because it was, and then I see planes going overhead. I'm like, where are we going? And he's like, I don't know. Didn't know until I went up to the terminal and found out we were going to San Antonio at the time. And he flew me to San Antonio. We had dinner on the Riverwalk at this very, very nice place. And he proposed to me and had everything set up. He had a Lexus rented, which is another way to my heart. It was very, very sweet. But the fact that he did not tell me and he just did it. When are we going to do that again, by the way? This is kind of a hint to you. So.
I can't tell you.
He can't tell me, thanks. So, yes, I live with romance, so I just love it. Romance motivates me. I'll write fight scenes where you have fight. They kiss. Let's spend a while on this.
And I'm like on the floor, no.
Yes. What is your most memorable part of this whole journey? Like, what is a memory, that you've had?
I would say, I think getting the first book deal is probably the biggest memory, because I think up to that point, you're gambling on something you don't know that will ever come true. And so you're kind of like, will this happen, will it not? And you can't predict, and there's no way to guarantee. And even getting an agent is a great like reinforcer, but it doesn't really tell you that it's going to make it the whole way. It just means that you're like on the right track and that you're getting closer. But it's hard to sell a book. And so when that first book deal came in, I still think of that as like the one time my very boring life felt like a movie, because I was sitting in the car rider line, as I do because I'm picking up children, which is half of my life. And that day I was supposed to wait to hear, you know, what offers were coming in. And so I had an offer on the table, which was great, but I was secretly hoping for Random House because I'm just a huge fan of all their books. So all the authors that they have are kind of the ones that I read just most often and I'm really passionate about. So secretly I was holding out hope for them. Not that I wouldn't have taken anybody, because shoot, like if the guy down the street on the corner said, I'll publish your book, I'd been like, okay. Like, I'll pay for the copies even, I don't care. I mean, whatever would have happened. So I was waiting for that offer to come in. And it was like that day there was a cutoff for when the offers would come in. And so 4 o'clock was no more offers, like that was it. So whatever didn't come in then, it wasn't gonna come in. And so it was 4 o'clock and I was sitting in the car line like, I'm so excited to have an offer, but I really wanted Random House, and we thought that they were really close to offering, and I was kind of like, oh, I wish that would have worked out, but oh well, you know, I'm still really happy. And my agent called me in line and said, did you check your email? I'm like, no, I'm in the car, I was just sitting here. She goes, well, they came in at 5 minutes to 4 o'clock, and they totally blew the other offer out of the water, so there was no like even, you know, decision to be made. And I can remember flipping out so badly that all the other parents must have thought like, what? It's because I was in the car like, like screaming, and my kids opened the door and I was like shaking, and my daughter got in and she sits down and she's in the corner and she's like, are you okay to drive? Because you seem a little off. I'm like, I don't know. And I was just shaking. And I remember the first person I called was my husband, and I kind of said, like, they came in and it was sort of, if you've seen The Princess Bride, when they give him like the quote on how much the wedding's gonna cost, and he's like, oh, total? That's not that bad. And they're like, no, each. And he goes, each? It was like that. I said, this is what they're offering. And he goes, oh, for, you know, both books, that's good. I go, no, each. And he goes, oh my God. So I could hear him like freaking out. And it was such a great moment for me, because for years he had worked 2 jobs so that I could stay home a little longer after having kids, so I could write and try to make this work. And so he worked 6 out of 7 days every week consistently until late at night. And I was able, with that advance, to get him to start his own business that he'd been working on part-time. He now got to take it full-time and quit his day job. So it was like a very sweet moment, because he had really supported me, and now I got to return the favor. Okay, so that's right, I had asked you a question. Okay, so my question is, out of all the characters you've written, which one do you feel like the most of you is in? Like you as a person? You know, there's a little bit of you in every character, a little bit, like your thoughts or whatever, but which one do you feel like is probably you kind of as your...
They're all like my kids.
Are they?
No, not my real kids. Sorry, y'all are not criminals, I promise. Or will be. I think, gosh, that's hard. I like Olivia, even though she's much, much more of an introvert than me. And you get to know your character so much, but just her confusion about herself and, you know, just her desire to find love, and that is really what she wants to find, is something that is very much like me. I grew up very fortunate. You know, I had a very good family, very strong family and everything, but I was able to put myself in her head because that's so important to me, is family and love and everything, that I was able to relate to her. And also I find the bad boy very cute. So, and she did too, obviously. But yeah, I think she's a very interesting character. It was very challenging to write because she's so multifaceted, but her desire for family and love, I can completely relate to that. So.
I would have said Olivia too, because when I read it, like I hear you in my head.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And it's not because,
That's
you're so
scary.
much more outgoing, but she's you at the core.
Yeah, I think I relate to her. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna take a picture of y'all too. Is that weird? I know most of y'all.
No, do it.
Okay. Ready? Smile. Thank you. Okay, who has questions for us? Yes, Jessica.
We want one of those shirts.
Yes,
we get
actually,
one?
I'm giving one of these shirts away, so we're
During the giveaway, so make sure
Yes.
you get a ticket. If
Yes.
you didn't raise your
Who
hand,
has
if
not
you have
gotten a
somebody who
ticket
can
yet?
pass out tickets.
Okay. Oh, a lot of
Okay.
people in the back. A lot of people in the back didn't get a ticket. All right, so any questions? Yes.
What was the writing process like for you guys? Do you guys have like a set thing? I wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and I brew my coffee and then it's like
Okay.
whenever you're supposed to do it.
What is the writing process like?
Yeah.
Do we wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning? Do we have a set schedule?
Well, I was just thinking that like part of it is us telling each other we're going on diets all the time, because writers sit so much that you're like, oh my gosh, I have gained so much weight being a writer. It's horrible. So we were just texting this week like, I'm on a diet. So am I. I really want a donut. Like that. That was part of our text this week. But like tell my process and then you were
Yeah, by the way, jeggings are awesome. You don't need a diet if you have jeggings. Yeah, I have no process, honestly. I really should, because it's actually slowed down a lot, but I have 3 kids and a job and the writing career, so I'm trying to manage everything. Of course, the house is a mess, and I'm okay with that. But I try to do it at night when my kids are in bed, unless we're watching Game of Thrones, but I try to fit in like an hour or so, especially if I'm on a roll, then I will make time at nighttime. That is my writing time.
And I'm like super rigid, but it's because my schedule now is really insane. I have a daughter who's in art school who's for photography, so she's taking her pictures. And so her school is about an hour away from my house one way. So in the mornings I take her for an hour, drive the hour back, get the other daughter, take her to school. And like literally by the time I get up to the time I drop off kids, I'm like, I've already been up for like 5 hours before I actually sit down to work. But I only have like 4 to 5 hours a day where I can sit down and watch, which is a lot, but I'm a full-time writer. So, you know, because this is my job, I need to produce a lot and quickly, and I'm not fast. So 4 hours to 5 hours is not a lot of time for me. But I really literally, I drop a kid off, and I started this new thing that I'm hoping helps me, which is meditating, because getting kids off to school is like wrangling ping pong balls. Like I feel so
I have
stressed.
these ping pong balls.
By the time I get them there, I'm like, oh my god, we made it and no one's late. Like you're so relieved. But it's every day the same thing. Like I forgot my whatever, and you're driving back with your pants on fire to like pick something up out of the garage and run back to the school. So I started meditating, and that's really helping because it sort of gets me ready. And now I have this whole like artsy ritual where I meditate and then I light a candle. I light a candle and then I put on headphones with like brainwave training music. And so I listen to that, and that has really helped because I only have that short time. My procrastinator self wants to mess around and look at social media and not do anything, but I don't have time, so I have to like have these procedures in place so that when I sit down, I start, and then I eat at my desk, and I finish, and then I go do my 3-hour round trip carpooling thing again, and then, you know, your nighttime crazy. So.
Yeah, I will say I need music to write. I always have to listen to music. So, and it's music with words, music without words, does not matter. It has to match the scene, and that's it. I just need music, so I always write. Otherwise, I just sit there like, yeah, I have no idea what to write. So.
And that's so funny because I write in total silence, except for that brainwave. It's like waterfall background noise.
Yeah.
But I listen to music in the car for that reason. Like I'll brainstorm the song. So what was the song you used for, like the songs that worked for Olivia Decoded? What did you listen to?
A lot of, let's see, who did I have? Coldplay. I had a Rihanna song that I loved, and Evanescence, Breathe Me. Loved that song.
I can see that.
And then some random Star Wars, The Force Awakens.
Star Wars?
Yeah, where she's sliding down this hill, you know, after the little droid. Yeah, I love that. I don't know, as soon as I hear something, I'm like, what is that? I gotta download that. So yeah, it's random. I'm very random. I think everybody who knows me knows I'm very random.
I'm like all-time low right now is my passionate. I love that group. So pretty much everything that they write, it becomes part of my playlist. So for this book, it was Love Like War. It was one of them. And then there's a group called Palais Royale, which my daughter introduced me to. And they're like up and coming. And they have a book called Get Higher. And it's kind of got this LA party vibe thing. And the book takes place in LA. So I listened to that one quite a bit too.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Deb.
The characters of the story comes first and then you add the other.
Ooh, that's a good question. Do the characters or the story come first? Which comes first, chicken or the egg? I think the story does for me. Actually, the title does. I always had the title in mind. For some reason, Oliver Twist, Olivia Twisted, except for Olivia Decoded. My editor changed the one I originally had to Olivia Decoded. But I think for me, it's a story. I have to have that in place, and the characters kind of come with it, but then I start developing them more. And I'm not a big outliner, so I actually have to write the story before I really get to know my characters. I'm kind of a pantser, just start writing, and it's a hot mess at the beginning, but then I start to get to know them better, and then I go back and revise it and everything. So for me, I have to get to know them. It's like having a relationship is writing the story for me. I don't know them at all in the beginning, and I know them very well by the end of the 100th revision.
Yeah, I would say that we're the same that way, only I'm so jealous of that title thing that I could just smack you right now. Titles are my kryptonite. I hate titling books. It's the worst thing ever. Like right now I have one with this, it's this proposal, and I'm like, I have no title. I've been trying for hours. So I sent it to my agent, and I'm like, help me, please. I can't do it. But every one of mine has been changed because the editor gets my title, and they're like, no, this doesn't work. But same thing. I always have like a what if scenario, and it almost always comes from some real life situation, like I said, documentary, news story. And then I go from there, and the characters are like cardboard cutout people until I can kind of flesh them out. But it takes a long time. I'd say like the first draft is me muddling around trying to figure them out, so I tell myself a story more than it actually is a story. It's like me saying, she does this and she looks like this and and it's a lot of telling that wouldn't actually be interesting to anyone else. And then when I go to do that second revision, that's when like the story part comes out more, because I have to figure everybody out first.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you guys ever gonna collaborate on a story together?
Are we going to collaborate on a story together?
Oh.
Maybe.
Maybe we already
are.
It's possible.
Yes. We are kind of working on something.
We have a top secret project.
Yes.
So
top
hopefully,
secret.
And we're not the only ones involved. We'll say that.
Yes.
But we can't say till we know more. And I will say that we're
I
so
would totally
busy.
tell everybody, but they're making me be quiet. I hate that. That's not me. Y'all know I tell everybody everything. So.
That we are working on something collaborative, but we all have to find time in our schedule, each of us that's involved, in order to get it done.
Yeah.
And right now, because we're all moms, that has like been really impossible. We're like, we set up this really great due date system. We're like, everybody will have these chapters by this day. And then back to school happened, and we're all like, no one emailed each other at all. Like, we're like, I don't see you over there. I know I have all these chapters to do. And we ignored each other because we couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully sometime this year.
Anything else? Yes, Mimi.
From first draft to final draft, how long would you say like each of your processes take?
Well, right now it takes about 3 years because I feel like I'm not doing a darn thing. How long does our process take from first draft to final draft? Olivia Twisted took 2 months to write, 4 months to revise, and then forever to continue revising because I kept getting rejections from agents. So I think from the time I started writing Olivia Twisted until the time it actually came out was 2.5 years, which is actually really fast. Olivia Decoded took less time because I gave a full proposal to my editor and hadn't written it yet. Yeah, I don't recommend that because it takes, it's very stressful to do that. So I wrote the proposal out, sent it to her, she bought it, and then I had to go write it, and I had to write it pretty quickly. So it probably took 2 months to write that one. And then revise.
All right, tell us the revision so I don't die over here, because that's so fast.
Oh, it took me 2 days to revise. No, it took a while, like 6 weeks to revise, and then you send it in. She's like, that's great, this is really great. Now I want you to do a lot more. And then you're like, I hate you. I love my editor, she's wonderful, but you also kind of hate them at some point. So.
Yeah,
But
you do less and I do more. Like mine's overkill. So I'll be like, I know I said it was 80,000 words. It's now 110, and this is a contemporary. Sorry. So I have to go back and like cut all this stuff out.
Oh, I add. I'm an adder.
No.
It's not enough for me.
And like you and she and Christy both from the YA Chicks are fast drafters. Like they draft the first draft really quickly, and they will do stuff like conversation happens here, and then they'll skip and go further.
Yeah, it's a hot mess.
And I can't do that. I'm like a write a chapter, revise a chapter, write a chapter, revise, and I have to do that, or I can't figure out where it goes next. Like I get very uncomfortable if I don't have the first part figured out. Then I move to the next part, and I'm trying to fix that because I'm so slow. It's not efficient at all. But now, like, I use something, if you're a writer here, it is the most magical thing ever. I don't know why. It's called Pacemaker Press. And you put in, like, when you want to have the book done. Like, on this day, I want to have it done. And then you say, like, okay, I want to work the same amount every day, or I want to work, like, in, you know, hills, where some days are higher than other days. And it sets up a schedule for you. And so that has been, like, a lifesaver for me. Because now I'm like, okay, I can live if it's 2,000 or under. If I have to write 4,000 in a day, I'm gonna sit on the floor and like cry and procrastinate and be overwhelmed because I can't do that. I'm too slow. So 2,000 for me, even though I write full time, that's like a lot, and I could probably do more than that. The problem is that I just get stuck. But in my head, mentally, I can be like, okay, 1,500 words is not that bad. And then on weekends, I will say, like Saturday and Sunday, I'm only gonna write 500 words or 600, and that's totally doable for me because it's such a small amount. But as I do that, I can see like, oh look, I'll be done with this book in November. That's awesome. Whereas before I was just kind of like writing willy-nilly and I had no idea when I was going to finish, and then it would just creep on forever. Now I'm making it much more a job. I've become my own boss and like taskmaster, and I'm like, you have to do this every day. So
yeah, anybody who works with me knows I need a taskmaster. I'm not a taskmaster. So. All right, one more question, anybody? Yeah? Little song? Swing? Yeah. I know I'm awful. I do want to say thank you to Books A Million, to
Yes.
Megan and the Billy and the team here for, I don't know where they are, but
Thank you.
okay.
I'm going to get the prizes.
I like it.
So thank you so much for hosting us here. And also I want to say to my 4 chicks, my original 4 chicks, who I never would have been able to do this without, Peggy, Eva, and Tracy, who are in the back. Love you guys. And to my critique group and PTA friends and work friends and everybody here, thank you so much for coming. And I think the books are available at the front, and then you come back here and we will sign them if you choose, or you can just come give us a hug or whatever you want to do. Y'all better give me a hug, because you know I like that. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate everybody.